Metroid Prime 4 is finally here, offering up players another chance to go behind the visor of Samus in another outstanding first-person shooting adventure. And while this is largely an iterative sequel that builds upon what the series has always done super well, there are still some quirks that I wished I knew before I got deep into the campaign. And so, to help you avoid making some of the same mistakes that I made, here are 11 things I wish I knew before starting Metroid Prime 4. Before we begin, just a quick spoiler warning, we won't be discussing any story spoilers, but we will be covering some late game upgrades and locations. So if you're sensitive to that kind of stuff, this is your chance to back out now.
Wow, that is fascinating.
Anyone who has played the Metroid Prime before probably knows how important it is to scan every enemy, pickup, power-up, and general object in the environment, both for the sake of fully understanding the game's lore and for 100% completion. However, it is especially important to get these scans in the opening segment of the game on planet Tanimar, because many of the things that you see on this planet will not appear at all in the rest of the game. Not everything counts towards your scan percentage, but NPCs, enemies, and bosses do. So make sure to scan a galaxy-fed trooper, a live space pirate, and the boss of the area, or you'll miss your opportunity for 100% scan completion on that save. Most people will probably default to using the B button to jump, since it's the most natural mapping. However, in frantic moments of combat, you'll find it kind of difficult to jump and aim at the same time, since your thumb will need to leave the right stick in order to press the B button. Fortunately, the developers have mapped an alternate jump button on L, allowing you to do some bumper jumping. I learned about this about halfway through my playtime with Metroid Prime 4, and it dramatically helped me in certain boss fights that demanded both accuracy and evasion in equal measure. You'll get 2 energy tanks pretty much right away without even having to really search for them. After that though, energy tanks become a rare commodity, and most are locked behind late game upgrades and boss fights. However, there are 2 more that you can get pretty early on and will be a significant boon for you in the early game. For the first one, all you need is your psychic glove and the viola suit that lets you drive your motorcycle in the desert. Head for this location southeast of the Chrono Tower to reach the Ring of Thunder Shrine. Just behind the shrine is a spot for you to grab with the psychic glove, allowing you to pull down a door, revealing an energy tank hiding inside. The second one can be found at the Ladder of Thought Shrine on the western edge of the map, just north of the entrance to Fury Green. After solving the puzzle by lifting the pillars one after the other, hop to the platform with the door, and check to your right to find a hole that you can fit through while in ball form. To reach it, you'll need to do a classic Metroid double bomb jump. You do this by placing a bomb, waiting until it's just about to explode before dropping another bomb on top of it, then while you're in the air, place your last bomb at the peak height of your bomb jump. If you did it correctly, you'll hit the third bomb exactly as it explodes, giving you enough height to enter the hole, which will take you right to the energy tank. As you're driving around the desert, you'll notice a whole lot of green crystals that you can plow through. It might not be clear why you should be doing this at the moment, but trust me, you will save yourself a big headache in the endgame if you're vigilant about always collecting them whenever you see them early on. Now, I'm not saying to go out of your way combing the entire desert looking for them, just if you see them while you're moving to your next objective, or while you're exploring for upgrades, it is worth it to veer off course slightly and plow through a patch of crystals. Or if you missed a bunch from a large cluster, you should probably turn around and make sure you get all of them. Just trust me on this. Okay, so I know this kind of flies counter to what I just said about not going out of your way for these green crystals, but you actually should aim to get the first reward for finding enough of them to fill up to the first line over on the mission tab, where it tracks your green crystal progress. Once you do that, head back to the home base, dump them at the Altar of Legacy, and you'll get an upgrade to your arm cannon that increases your base damage. Keep an eye out while you're exploring the desert for other goodies as well. Don't worry about the mech part points of interest on the map, as they're part of a late game mission, but do be on the lookout for glowing spots in the ground where you can use your grapple to unearth power-ups, ramps that lead to missile expansions suspended in the air, and especially shrines, as these will power up your elemental shots with special charge shots. If you come across these shrines early, there's a good chance that you won't have the upgrades needed to solve their puzzles, but fortunately they are automatically marked on your map when you discover them, so you can always come back later once you have the required upgrade. As you're exploring each new area, you'll probably come across these downed scout bots that may not seem very important at first glance, but if you scan them, you'll see that they can actually be reactivated with an electric jolt. Make a mark on your map noting the locations of these bots, because once you get the thunder shot and can reactivate them, they'll actually tell you where all the remaining collectibles in that area are. The thunder shot is one of the very last core upgrades that you'll get, so you won't be able to do this until fairly late in the game, which is why it's important to mark them early on so you don't forget where they are, like I did. Speaking of marking your map, you should be doing this every time you come across a power-up that you can't find a way to reach, a breakable object that you can't currently break, a gap that you can't cross, etc. This is a new feature in Metroid Prime 4, and while you're not able to specifically mark locations on the 3D map, even just highlighting an area green so that you know to revisit it when you have new upgrades is super valuable. You can even create a system where the different markers correspond to the different types of barriers that are blocking you, so that you know what to look for when you come back with more upgrades. Don't neglect your elemental shots. Ice enemies are typically weak to fire, mechanical enemies take more damage from your thunder shot, and flying enemies will fall from the sky when they're frozen by your ice shot, taking damage and potentially even shattering when they hit the ground. Also note that freezing an enemy and then quickly switching to missiles is a great way to quickly bring down some of the more resilient enemies in the game. It can be frustrating to take down some of the enemies that roam the desert and harass you while you're driving around with your bike's standard lock-on weapon. It's both slow and it takes multiple shots to bring down anything but the birds. What I learned later though is that the real value of the weapon isn't taking out enemies on its own, it's knocking them out of the sky temporarily so that you can double tap boost and plow right through them, killing them in one blow. Save your boosts for opportunities to take out the enemies that you swat out of the sky, and plow through these cacti to restore the boost so that you're always ready whenever you get ambushed. Lock-on is a very powerful tool in Metroid Prime 4, but sometimes free aim is the way to go. Definitely use lock-on to keep your sights on a fast-moving target, but in situations where you need to be precise and where the lock-on moves your crosshairs away from the enemy weak points, you'll be better off just using free aim. This is especially true for bosses, where you'll frequently only be able to target the head of a boss, but are required to shoot other parts of its body in order to deal damage. And those are 11 things that I wish I knew before starting Metroid Prime 4 that would have saved me either a lot of time or effort in my first playthrough. If you'd like some more specific guidance on how and where to find all the collectibles needed for 100% item completion, make sure to check out our guide on how to find all the energy tanks, missile expansions, and more. And for everything else, keep it here on IGN.